What is going on? Sharon Stone loses half her money in Silicon Valley Bank. What is going on? Why are people losing so much money? Wonder, wonder if my money's safe then in Canada. I wonder if my bank accounts are safe. I don't know. What am I supposed to do? I know. I know what I'm going to do. My super safe savings account. That's right. I'm going to stuff my money in here. All right. Hello, everyone. I hope you decide that you're not going to stuff all your money into a super safe savings account like your jar. Okay, let's just not go there. So in today's video, I want to talk about, is your money safe in Canada? Are you insured with the money that you're stuffing into the bank accounts? Now, you might be worried because obviously some catastrophes have been happening in the United States. Everyone's heard of Silicon Valley Bank, the Credit Suisse, Signature Bank, amongst others, who've collapsed in the last few weeks. Now, every one of those banks failing have their own specific reasons. But the underlying theme is interest rates spiking in the last many months is causing these banks to collapse. Now, you're probably wondering, is this going to apply to Canada? And what does that mean for our bank accounts? Now, before we jump into how much money is insured in the bank accounts, I'm just going to give a brief 101 on how banks work. When you deposit money into a bank account, well, banks can take that money and loan it out. And what they do to insure your deposit, well, they take a portion of it and buy bonds. And so when you decide to withdraw your money from the bank account, well, the banks will have to sell those bonds to return the money back to you as an investor. Now, you can really appreciate that, with high interest rates, it could be good and bad for lenders. So yes, you can earn more money, from the loans because if you obviously loaned your money in a high interest rate environment, that's great. But for a bank, when they're insuring the bonds against your deposits and say they bought these bonds in a very low interest rate environment, and then you decide to withdraw your money and all of a sudden the interest rates are a lot higher, well, that's not a great thing for banks because now they're going to have to sell their bonds at a high interest rate environment, which means they're selling it at a loss because they bought those bonds in a low interest rate environment. Now, what does that mean for your money? Let's talk about understanding the deposit insurance in Canada. See, we are very lucky in Canada that a lot of our accounts are insured up to $100,000 per account in Canada. Now, what this means is that if you open a bank account, say RRSP, RESP, a TFSA, in one bank, say Royal Bank or TD Bank, each of those accounts are insured up to $100,000. So your money is insured by CDIC, which is the Canadian Deposit Insurance Corporation. Okay, that was a big mouthful, which protects your deposits up to $100,000. So they will protect savings account, your checking accounts, your term deposits, your GICs, your RRSPs, your RRIFs, your TFSAs, and your RESPs. Now, if you bought a guaranteed investment certificate, it will protect up to $100K for 5 years. Now, if you obviously decide to invest more than $100K into a GIC, say $200,000, unfortunately, CDIC will only insure up to $100K for that one particular GIC, and it has to be less than 5 years. Now, the one thing that CDIC does not cover are stocks, securities, basically any investments except for guaranteed investment certificates and only up to $100K. Now, the great news is that if you have, say, TFSAs in multiple bank accounts and in different banks, it could be insured up to $100K each. Okay, so for example, if you have $100K in Royal Bank and you have $100K in Scotia, each of those accounts, being the TFSA, is insured up to $100K in both banks. Now, if you have $200,000 in your TFSA in cash, say in only Royal Bank, unfortunately, CDIC will only insure up to $100,000 in Royal Bank. So what are your alternatives? If you're wondering okay, maybe you do have a bunch of cash sitting all in Royal Bank and you're like, oh, you want to diversify because you don't want to lose say half your money like Sharon Stone did in Silicon Valley Bank. Well, this is what you could do. You could go to credit unions, which are member-owned financial institutions, and some of them actually have higher insurance coverages. Now, this is up to each credit union, so you got to check the rules, but they may have a higher coverage than just $100,000. Now, the second alternative is you can go to a brokerage firm.
We are so lucky in Canada. We are protected by the Canadian Investor Protection Fund, which is CIPF, and they protect $1 million for all general combined accounts, such as cash accounts, margin accounts, TFSAs. Also, if you have another $1 million in registered retirement accounts like RRSPs, RRIFs, LIRAs, and then if you have RESPs, they'll protect you another $1 million combined. Now, for example, Questrade is actually protected for up to $10 million. So if you have Apple stocks, TD Bank stocks, and for example, you had like $800,000 worth of stocks, and then a brokerage firm goes capiche, well, the market value of your stocks are still protected for $800,000. Of course, if your stocks decline, then unfortunately, they don't protect you in the case of decline. Just the market value when the brokerage firm goes capiche.
Now, what the third alternative is that, well, you can open up many, many bank accounts in many different banks. So you can have some in Scotiabank, some in Royal Bank, some in TD Bank, because each bank will insure up to $100,000 per account per bank by CDIC. So you can spread all your money and diversify just by having a lot of your money in multiple bank accounts. Now, the reason why these banks have been collapsing in the US has been, to do with higher interest rates. And so far, it's more contained to the smaller banks in the United States. If you're worried that this same effect could happen in Canada, for me, I feel much more confident with the Canadian banking system because, they're really large banks and they've never collapsed, even during the financial crisis. None of the banks collapsed. So I'm very comfortable keeping my money in the top big banks. By the way, I am still investing in the top 2 banks in Canada, which is TD Bank and Royal Bank. And if you want to know what I'm exactly investing in and my reasons why, I am on the Blossom Social Investing app. I share all my trades from my different accounts. And what I love about Blossom Social Investing app is that it is made for Canadians. So unlike Wall Street Bets and Reddit, where you can follow a bunch of people, but they're not all Canadians. Well, in Blossom Social Investing app, you can follow whoever you want. So if you like a particular person's investing style, you could follow that person and you can see all their trades and their rationale to why they're investing. So if you want to learn more about investing or invest like me and see my exact trades, go to Blossom Social Investing app. See in the link below. They have a very cool feature where you can actually earn money learning about investing. In fact, I've taken those lessons and I got $4. So in summary, if you're worried about your money being insured and being capped at $100K, well, you can spread it among many, many different bank accounts. I think the best alternative is storing your money in a brokerage firm because, you could have peace of mind that your money is insured up to $1 million with a brokerage firm. And if you had that much cash, you could decide to open up many accounts with different brokerage firms in Canada. Also, I have a question for you. Are you comfortable investing in Canadian banks? Let me know in the comments below. I ran this awesome poll up here and you can see the results. This was done at the Blossom Social Investing app. And this is the results right now. Anyway,